The Mariners are playing really good ball right now, but we need to talk about a couple players on this roster. Colby, hit it.
You are Locked On Mariners, your daily Seattle Mariners podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Ahoy, sailors. It is Friday, April 25th, 2025. This is Titan Gonzalez and Colby Patnode for the Locked On Mariners podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. As always, if you want to hear from me and Colby even more and help support the show, you can check out our Patreon. All you have to do to check that out is click the link in the description of this episode. So on today's show, we'll talk about a couple roster moves we think the Mariners should make, some potential lineup changes we also think the Mariners should consider, when exactly we could see Matt Brash, and then we'll get you set for the weekend series against the Marlins. But Colby, I hate to say it, it breaks my heart. I was so excited when they signed him. I've wanted him on this team for years. It's time to cut bait on Donovan Solano, I think. I don't see this thing getting any better. I know it's still a relatively small sample size, but we're reaching historic levels of bad on Solano now. Negative 52 WRC plus in 40 plate appearances over the course of 16 games. 32.5% strikeout rate. That's an 11.5% jump from where it was last year. Only a 2.5% walk rate right now. He is slashing 079, 100, 079, and he's been worth negative 0.7 F4. And you know, I've said this. I know there are some people out there that feel this way, that you know, how much of a rhythm can he really get in when he is being exclusively used against left-handed pitching, which he really doesn't need to. There's nothing in his track record that suggests he should only hit against left-handed pitching. Since his breakout in 2019 with the Giants, he's been a 105, 106 WRC plus against right-handed pitchers. And that's over the course of over 1,000 plate appearances. That's not a small sample size either. But it also kind of looks like Father Time has caught up with the 37-year-old when I watch him. It just, to me, again, like I said, it doesn't seem like this is going to get any better anytime soon. And while, yeah, you probably should give him more opportunities to see if he can get in a rhythm, I just don't think you can justify that at this point with the way he has looked. It's been really bad.
I think the thing that's been most damning of Solano is you just look at what he did the last two games where he got back-to-back starts, one against a really, really good pitcher, one against a not very good pitcher or an okay pitcher. You kind of look, and the at-bats were just ugly. And on in the Newcomb at-bats, he literally just started swinging at everything. Like that tells me that he is not seeing the ball at all. He's not trusting himself. Like he is in a bad space mentally, because again, he just started swinging at every pitches that were a foot outside. He was trying to swing at, and that tells me that he doesn't have any confidence in himself. And you know, it's, you look at what he did in his last at bat yesterday. He laid off a couple of tough pitches and he drew a walk. And you know, you certainly hope that that's something to build on. But again, I think we're going into this Marlins series, and he hasn't. There are going to be three righties on the mound. So in theory, if Dan Wilson sticks to his platoons, he's not going to play this weekend. And at that point, like, what's the point? Because if you don't trust him to play a little second, you don't trust him to play any third, you're never going to give him DH at bats. Like, I don't know how you get him in the lineup enough to kind of start to try and fix this. And personally, I would give, you know, Solano the weekend. And by that, I mean, I would give him a couple starts at least to kind of see if there's something to build on there. But yeah, I mean, it has to be approaching the end here, just because, again, you can't have a first base only weak side platoon hitter on this roster. Not when you have platoons you're trying to make work at second and out in right field, and also kind of at DH. Like, it just doesn't work. There's too many platoons. And so you have to get rid of the least productive one, which would be, you know, the weak side first base platoon, which would be Solano. I mean, I don't think we should be overlooking Rowdy Tellez either here. Like, I know that he had the really good weekend in Toronto, but other than that, he's been bad. He's been not as bad as Solano, but he has been bad. First base is a big problem for the Mariners right now.
Yeah.
And so if I'm Dan, like, I'm going to take this weekend, I'm going to give Solano 2 or 3 starts this weekend. Because what I'm losing from Solano to Rowdy, honestly, not a ton. It's whatever. Like, Rowdy has had 3 good games this year. So I'll give Solano this weekend and then I'll reevaluate. But yeah, it's not so much the numbers that are bad, which they're tragically bad, but just watching him at the plate, like, you could almost see the confidence just completely be shattered. And that's what it looks like when you're going up there swinging at every single pitch and not working counts well. And when you do get that pitch, you're fouling it off or you're missing it. Like, in the grand scheme of his career, 40 plate appearances, like, whatever. This happened in the middle of July. We'd notice, but it wouldn't be like, we have to cut him. But you're seeing it now. He's not playing all that much, and he's not providing anything off. He's not providing anything. No defense, no base running, no versatility, and he's not hitting. I mean, yeah, I think you have to have that conversation. So, again, I would try to I'd give him a start tonight against Cal Quantrill. See if you can kind of, build some confidence there. And then at some point you got to start making the move. But I think the move that a lot of people are pitching right now is not the best move if you're going to move on from Donovan Solano. So, yeah, first base is a huge problem. Rowdy is certainly a part of that, but yeah, Donovan Solano's been so bad that he pretty much catches all the heat for the Mariners' first base situation, rightfully so.
Yeah. So Tyler Locklear is the popular potential corresponding move that fans are throwing out there. And Tyler is off to a really nice start down in AAA. It seems like he's fully recovered from that wrist injury that hampered him last year. He's hitting the ball well right now. I don't like it if the plan is to essentially have him just fill the role that Solano is currently filling, which is just exclusively hitting against lefties. If you're calling up Tyler Locklear, he needs to play every day. You need to do essentially what you're doing with Ben Williamson. Like, maybe sit him here and there, gets a tough righty, but for the most part, he needs to play with regularity. He needs to play at least 4 times a week.
Yeah, I mean, probably more than that. Because, again, it's not like Rowdy Tellez is crushing anything. Now, the Mariners do have DH at-bats that they can give. I would like them to start giving them more to Mitch Garver, who's continued to look better and better as the season's gone along. And maybe they will do that. But, yeah, if the idea is, hey, we need to replace Donovan Solano's role on this roster, A, no, you don't. And B, that's not the place to put a 24-year-old kid who's trying to figure out how to hit major league pitching. You can't expect that to work very well. So if you're not willing to bench Rowdy or, severely limit his playing time, there's no point in calling up Tyler Locklear. So it's not as easy of a call as people think, because you do have to think about the player. And it doesn't do him any good to come up and sit 4 or 5 days in a row and then try to hit major league pitching and then sit 2 days in a row. That's hard for veterans to do. It's going to be darn near impossible for a 24-year-old who's got a cup of coffee in the big leagues to do that. And so, yeah, if you're not willing to put Rowdy on the bench, if you're not willing to basically give Locklear a couple weeks to try and win the first base job outright, then you're better off just keeping him in Tacoma where he can play every day.
Things become a little bit easier once Jorge Polanco is cleared to play in the field again, which seems like we're getting close to.
Soon. Yeah,
it seems like we're getting close to that point. I saw him taking grounders over at second before the game on Sunday, and he looked fine. I mean, I wasn't down on the field with him, but I was watching him exclusively during warmups before the game, and he was moving well. It didn't seem like he was really dealing with anything. I believe Brad Adam said on the broadcast yesterday that he was taking grounders again in Boston. So
started to take swings from the right side as well.
Yeah, started to take swings from the right side. Yeah.
So I kind of don't think we'll see it this homestand, but maybe sometime on the next road trip we start to see him play some second, which sounds like that's where they're going to put him. Maybe some first, but he'll still probably do quite a bit of DHing. So
well, I still feel like putting Polanco, and obviously it's not as simple as just like give him a first base glove and let him, roll out there. Tell him
It's
wash.
not that hard, Ty.
Yeah,
Tell him wash.
Yeah, exactly. I knew it was coming. But I feel like that would solve a couple of problems here.
Yeah.
It would hide Polo's defense. It would be the one position he could play that keeps him the healthiest in theory. And you put one of your hottest hitters at arguably your greatest position of need right now from an offensive standpoint. So that solves what, 3 problems at the very least.
Yeah, and I mean for now, right? You're pretty happy with this like Leo Rivas, Dylan Moore platoon thing that's kind of going on at second base a little bit right now. Like you're pretty happy with that, and so why not ride that, as far as you can before inevitably, we remember Dylan Moore and Leo Rivas aren't this good. So yeah, so you can keep that kind of going. You could put him at first base, which moves Rowdy to the bench, opens up the DH spot for Garver to play a little bit more, or Rowdy can be the DH, and obviously Polanco again will get DH days. Like I think they're going to be. I don't think we're going to see Polo play in the field more than 2 or 3 times a week. I think he'll DH the other days. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they handle all that. But yeah, having a guy who can play second, can play third, although I think Solano's probably better at both of those places than Polo is right now, unfortunately. But having that does make some sense, and it frees up the corresponding roster move to make a little bit more sense. But either way, at the end of the day, it shouldn't be Locklear if you're not going to give him, starts against righties. Like
Samad.
Yeah.
Yeah, Samad Taylor. Because he gives you some speed on the bases. He's hitting really well right now. Gives you a right-handed outfield bat.
Samad,
you kind of need right now.
You platoon him with Rayleigh out in right field, and that frees up Rivas and Dylan Moore to focus on second base and just kind of hold that down for a while. And again, it gives you a piece off the bench, and I mean, I think people kind of forget because he was pretty bad last year. Taylor was in AAA.
Yeah.
But prior to the season, like there were a lot of people, not only in the Mariners organization, there were a lot of people across baseball who were looking at Samad Taylor being like, they might have something here. Like, I can't believe the Royals gave him up. So yeah, I mean, I don't think the power's legit, but for a guy who can get on base, he can do a bunch of the little things, right? Steal bases, draw walks, makes a lot of contact, pretty good athlete. Yeah. Like I think he fits this roster really well.
And he's been a consistent minor league performer,
except for last year.
Last year was outlier. By far the worst year he's had in his professional career. So I wonder 50, if maybe, right? Yeah, he's still stole 50 bags, but yeah, 91 WRC plus. That's a career low for him down in the minors, unless you want to count the 5 games he had of rookie ball with Toronto in 2017 when he had a 77 WRC plus. We're not, by the way, we're not counting that. Or the 97 WRC plus he had in 2018 in A ball. That was a much larger sample size, 530 plate appearances, but still 91 WRC plus down in Tacoma last year. Kind of wonder if maybe he was dealing with something last year. Maybe just things kind of snowballed for him after, it wasn't necessarily a failed cup of coffee at the major league level last year. It was only 3 games.
Yeah, he had a bunt single, and that was like the big thing he did.
In Milwaukee, I remember that. Yeah.
But yeah, I think Taylor just fits this roster better, and the Mariners want to run. Taylor is one of their best runners. It also helps you more defensively. So even if you don't get a lot from him offensively, he still is going to provide more value than what current Donovan Solano is.
Yeah.
Not that that's that high of a bar to clear, but still.
That's an incredibly low bar to clear. Like, it's almost virtually impossible for anyone that they call up to be worse than Solano is, or Solano has been. It's, again, like I said, it's reaching historic levels of terrible at this point.
Yep.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about the bullpen, talk a little bit about the lineup, and then get you set for the Marlins series in just a moment. But first, a reminder, this episode of the Locked On Mariners podcast is brought to you by our friends at Amazon Fire TV Stick 4K. Did you know your Fire TV is also an Xbox? Turn any TV into your gaming and entertainment hub with Fire TV Stick 4K devices. No console required. Just grab your paired controller, subscribe, or sign into Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with EA Play included, and you're ready to play. Dive into hundreds of premium titles, from EA Sports College Football 25 to Call of Duty Black Ops 6 and Avowed, as easily as you stream your favorite shows. It's gaming made simple, and it's all on your Fire TV. Play high quality Xbox games at a fraction of the cost of a console. And if you already have a console, a Fire TV Stick 4K device is more affordable and easier to travel with, allowing you to take your games or your kids' games wherever you plug in. Head to Amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On to get started. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription and compatible controller required. Available on select devices, including Fire TV Stick 4K 2nd Gen, Fire TV Stick 4K Max 1st and 2nd Gen, and Fire TV Cube 3rd Gen. Again, that's Amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On. And you're listening to the Locked On Mariners podcast. So, not to beat a dead horse here, but still think this team should move on from Trent Thornton. This kind of goes hand in hand with something else that I want to talk about today as well. The return of Matt Brash. Trent Thornton nearly gave up a game-tying home run to Alex Bregman yesterday. Thank God that went foul. And thank God for Leo Rivas making that insane catch yesterday, because I did not trust Thornton to go up against Wilyer Abreu with runner on first with a 1-run lead. But again, we've talked about the home run to fly ball rate. That technically went down yesterday because technically the ball that Rivas caught was a fly ball.
Oh, now it's 46%.
Yeah. It's still god awful. Thornton's still one of the worst relievers in baseball by F4 standards. Yeah, they should move on. I don't trust the guy.
I mean, if we're talking about, like, you have to move on from Donovan Solano because he's been, like, historically bad and all that, like,
I'm pretty sure they have the same F4.
I was going to say that applies to Trent Thornton too, because they're both making a little bit of money, but not an absurd amount. They both have track records of being much, much better than this. But what they're doing right now is so awful that, they're pretty much, Thornton is the pitching version of Donovan Solano. And so, it's kind of weird that the vitriol hasn't reached the same level with both of them. I guess probably because Thornton's been here for a couple of years.
Well, and also Solano is technically the big addition of the offseason. You could say it's Polanco, but Polanco was here last year, so yeah.
Not this Polanco.
Not this one. Yeah, thank God. Anyway, yeah, they should move on from Trent Thornton. By the way, highly doubt that's going to happen. Let's just say that. It's not going to happen. They should do it. They're not going to.
It's about as likely as Dan, benching Rowdy Tellez in favor of Tyler Locklear.
So you can say this is a moot point, and it probably is, but that doesn't mean that I'm not going to say that they should do this. They absolutely should. They absolutely should move on from Trent Thornton, because I don't trust the guy, and neither should Dan Wilson or anyone on that coaching staff or in that organization right now. It's just not throwing the ball well at all. He's a ticking time bomb whenever he steps on the mound, frankly. So I'd like to see maybe Jesse Hahn, or maybe that's the corresponding move for when Matt Brash gets activated, which seems to be coming up here pretty quick. He's thrown 4 times now in Tacoma. He threw 20 pitches his last time out. Looked pretty good. Hung a slider that got hit for a single, but also had a nasty breaking ball that caught Bryce Matthews, one of the top Astros prospects, for strike 3. Overall, I actually watched his last outing. He looks like Matt Brash.
Yeah, Brash probably gets added this homestand. I don't know if it's going to be this weekend or not, but I guess the nice thing is if you put him on the roster this weekend, you have the off day on Monday and you have the off day on Thursday, so you can pitch in back-to-back games without pitching in back-to-back days a couple times. So you can kind of work it that way. But yeah, that's the only thing he hasn't done down there. He hasn't gone back-to-back yet. And I don't think that's part of his rehab plan right now. I think they're going to be very cautious with him So I don't think part of their goal in his rehab assignment is to pitch him back-to-back days in Tacoma, because I don't think he's going to pitch him back-to-back days for another couple months. I imagine when Brash is added, if Brash is added this week or this weekend, it'll be just a simple Casey Lawrence swap.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see Brash finally pitch again in a Mariners uniform. It's been far, far too long, and this team, this bullpen could really use some swing and miss. Desperately could use it. Now, is Matt Brash going to look like the Matt Brash we know and love right away? Probably not. There's probably going to be some things that he still has to work through. But still, even like 80% of the Matt Brash that we know and love should be able to get some swing and miss.
Sure. I doubt they throw him into the fire in a super high leverage spot either, though. So for now, those spots are still going to have to be handled by Munoz, Spire, and Vargas and Bazardo. So, but yeah, it'll be nice to have Brash back. And again, I'm sure they'll ease him in, but at some point, he's going to be getting big outs for you this year. And hopefully he, is healthy and he stays healthy this year. And we can kind of put this Tommy John surgery behind us and just kind of enjoy having good Gabe Spire, Matt Brash, and Andres Munoz together for the first time in a couple of years.
So yesterday, you talked a little bit about some potential lineup changes the Mariners can make. You want to go over those real quick? What would you like to see Dan do with the lineup?
I think you need to move Julio down. He's struggling right now, very clearly. So yeah, I think you want to take advantage of a hot stretch between JP Crawford and the bottom of that order, and you can move Julio down without feeling like you're losing too much right now. And I'm not talking about moving Julio down to 7, 8, 9. I'm talking about moving him down to 5th. Like, get him. Don't guarantee him an at bat in the first inning, right? Get him out of the top 3 spots. I think JP should be the leadoff hitter, at least against righties. JP should be the leadoff hitter, and then I think you stick with Polanco hitting 2, and then 3. You can do Cal, you can do Randy. Doesn't really matter. 3, 4, whatever order you want those guys to be in is fine. And then I think you put Julio 5. And then I think you probably don't want to lose the whole set the table thing at the top. But if you're setting the table for a struggling Julio, you're really not setting it, right? Like, who cares if you set the table if nobody cashes in? So I think JP should be moved up to the leadoff spot for the time being. Julio will certainly move back up as he figures things out. But I think for now, JP leadoff, and then I would guess Williamson and Rivas more like that. That group will still stay 8, 9 because you do want to set the table, and those guys are getting on base right now. I think you move Julio to 5, you move JP up 1, and everybody else just slides down 1 spot. I think that's probably the best lineup you could throw out there right now.
Yeah, I wanted to pull up the numbers for the Mariners on the road trip, the offensive numbers. JP had a WRC plus of 206 on the road trip. He's been one of the hottest hitters in baseball. I think like one of the top 20 hitters in baseball by WRC plus. Leo Rivas, not far behind him, 204 WRC plus. Rowdy with the big series in Toronto, 201. Those are the 3 Mariners over a 200 WRC plus on this past road trip. And then Julio, 74 WRC plus for Julio. It hasn't been as bad of a start to the year as 2022 and 2024 were for Julio. It's more of like a 2023 start to the year for Julio, where he's just like slightly above league average in the WRC plus department. Some of the games, it's frustrating to watch him hit. Some of the games, he's actually, hitting for power and doing some cool things. And, overall, I don't feel necessarily one way or the other about Julio and what we're seeing right now out of him. But some of the at-bats, especially on the road trip, looked bad. Just straight up terrible. I think push him down the lineup a little bit, put JP back in the leadoff spot. And then just, once Julio gets it together, then bring him back up and, figure it out from there and see where, other guys are at and all that good stuff. But yeah, right now I think like with Rivas and Williamson had a 138 WRC plus on the road trip. He's making his home debut tonight, which is cool. Or we'll see if he's in the lineup, but I would assume he will be. But I think those guys are a good right now with the way that they're hitting. They're more than capable of turning the page like JP has been doing. You're listening to the Locked On Mariners podcast. So the Marlins are coming to town for a 3-game set. Cal Quantrill taking the bump for the Marlins tonight against Logan Gilbert.
Mm-hmm.
Logan only went 4 2/3 in his last start against the Blue Jays on Saturday. Had a ton of strikeouts in that game, but it took him a ton of pitches to get them. Would like to see Logan be able to get deep in this game, which is kind of the storyline for every starter heading into their start right now. Now you've gotten 2 consecutive quality starts out of Emerson Hancock and Brian Wu. Let's keep it going. Be nice. Let's get on a little bit of a quality start streak. And Quantrill, 8.31 ERA to start the year. This is a guy that the offense should jump on. The offense, has been really good to start the year, and they were really good on the road trip. And they've looked at the very least competent at T-Mobile Park to start the year. So I hope that we'll see some good things from the offense tonight, and this should be, a relatively easy win. This is a Marlins team that has been scrappy to start the year for sure. They're 11-13. They do have some young talent throughout their roster, but this is a team that you should absolutely beat if we're being very honest. And this matchup, Gilbert against Quantrill, this is a game that you should run away with, frankly. So hopefully they do that. Hopefully you get a really good start out of Gilbert and the offense gives you, 4 or 5 off of Quantrill.
Yeah, at least. The Marlins have some arms in their pen. I don't believe they're up to particularly great starts, but we talked a lot about the Marlins bullpen this offseason. So you do want to jump on the starters. Gillespie pitches tomorrow. He's off to a bad start. And then if you want to win the series, probably want to win those first 2 games. Although if Boston taught us anything, that doesn't matter. But on Sunday, you are facing Max Meyer, who is off to a amazing start. I mean, it's almost hard to imagine nobody had Max Meyer as being like this type of pitcher back when he was drafted in 2020. But
by the way, Marlins bullpen worst in baseball by F4 to start the year.
But some good arms out there, but they are not performing right now. So hopefully that continues. But the talent in the Marlins bullpen is pretty legit. So we'll have to wait and see how that goes. But you really want to jump on these next 2 guys. And you hope that Gilbert and Castillo can give you innings, particularly Gilbert tonight, because I'd imagine that Spire and Munoz are both down today. And my guess is if this is a close game, Carlos Vargas probably gets the save opportunity, which Carlos has been good for the most part. I still don't quite trust him in the high leverage spots.
It'd be great if you had a big lead and Gilbert gave you like 6 or 7 tonight. That would be awesome.
Mm-hmm. I mean, and look, if it's a 3-run lead in the 9th and they go to Vargas and he gets, would it be his first save?
Yeah. Because he didn't get the one in San Francisco, unfortunately.
Yeah. So if he gets that, great. That's not super high leverage, but hey, it's 4-3 in the 9th inning, and it's 2-3-4 for the Marlins, and here comes Carlos Vargas because Munoz and Spire aren't available. I feel okay, but so hopefully Logan can go 6-7 tonight, and they can have a 4 or 5 run buffer and just kind of give the guys in the pen a nice rest. And it'd be nice to again to continue the quality start streak that we started over the last couple of days with Emerson Hancock and Brian Wu.
Yeah. So Saturday, Luis Castillo pitching, getting him back in T-Mobile Park, see if we can get him right. And then Bryce on Sunday, that's going to be the one to really keep an eye on there. How deep can he go? What's his control looking like? What's his command looking like? All that. So yeah, and what's the velo looking like, right? Especially as he gets deeper into the game, would really feel great if we don't see 92 flash at any given point in that start again, like we saw in Boston. That was a bit concerning. So yeah, again, this is a Marlins team that you should absolutely beat. But we said that last year going down to Miami, and the Mariners lost 2 of 3. So yeah, see how it goes, and then we'll be back on Mailbag Monday to talk about what you guys want to talk about. So till then, that's going to do it for our show. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Locked On Mariners podcast. Colby Patnode, I'm Titan Gonzalez. Sure, give us a follow on Twitter at LO_Mariners. You can follow me at Titan Gonzalez and Colby at CPAT11. That's CPAT11. We're also on Blue Sky. You can follow me at TDG, Colby at MLB Colby, the show at Locked On Mariners. You can also find us on Instagram at Locked On Mariners. Have yourself a beautiful baseball day, and we'll see you next time. Peace.